Hey guys, good morning and welcome to our first ever Activate Home at Home workout. My name is Ben and this morning we're going to go through this week's mobility drill. So for those of you that are watching live, if you have questions along the way, comment them and I'll be able to answer as we go along. If you're watching on recording, no problem at all. As you'll see at the schedule post at the top of our Facebook page, we rebroadcast these on a regular basis. So you can follow a pre-recorded recording whenever you like, or tune into the next live recording to catch the latest version of this particular workout. So today, we'll be completing a 30-minute long routine. Let's see. There we go, awesome. Thanks guys, good to see you. We'll be following a 30-minute routine designed to work on your mobility. This week, we're going to start off with some basics and focus on your feet, ankles, hands, and wrists. You don't need any equipment at all for this program, so you can set up wherever you like. You'll probably just need a soft surface to sit on. I'd recommend on the ground, on a mat, or a towel, but even that's not required. Beyond that, no equipment necessary for this routine today. All right, guys, we'll get started. We're going to begin with working on just a general mobility position to warm up. I like you to bring yourself into this butterfly position with both feet together, just like so. If this is a bit of a stretch, you may want to bring your feet further out. And if you're looking for something more challenging, you can bring feet in like so. Once we're in a challenging spot, I want you to do your best to sit as tall as you can on your sit bones, so as upright as you can be. You can hold onto your legs or feet as you need to. And we're just going to take 3 deep breaths right here. Okay. Next up, what I want you to do is to take your right arm, my left, and reach up and over into a big stretch this way. So I'm reaching this way as far as I can to this wall, trying not to fold too far forward, but staying pretty upright like so, and using my other arm to balance me or support me however I need to. So I'll reach over here, 3 deep breaths. One more. Excellent. We'll come back to middle. And now we're going to stretch to the other side. So opposite hand plants to the ground. I reach up and over. My arm is right by my ear. Again, not folding too far forward. And a deep stretch here for 3 deep breaths. As you breathe in, you want to feel the rib cage expand and very likely enhance that stretch. Perfect. And then we'll lean forward one more time. And now I want you to bring the body as far forward as it will go comfortably. If you haven't already, you should begin to feel a stretch on the inner legs or hips a bit. So just leaning forward, not so much pulling up on my feet, but more myself leaning down into the biggest stretch I can manage here. And one more time, 3 deep breaths. Excellent. Very good, guys. All right. We're going to focus on our first foot drill. So what I'd like you to do is to actually, and let's make sure we can really see here, you're going to grab the foot. We'll work on the right foot first. And we're going to do what we call a toe split. So if you zoom in, if you want to see that close, regardless how my feet are working, I'm going to grab my big toe and the second toe. I'm going to pull the big toe back as far as it will go. At the same time, I'm going to pull the second toe as far forward as it will go until I feel a stretch. This might not feel like a traditional stretch in terms of a muscular stretch. Sometimes I feel like the skin's sort of itchy or almost about to split. That's okay. So lean in as far as you can go into that toe split. And then we'll switch and now pull back on the second toe while pushing forward on the big toe. Being gentle, just go as far as you can. You'll find some of your toes have quite a bit of range of motion and other ones not so much. That's okay. We're just meeting the toes where they're at and going as far as they can go today. Work it back and forth a few more times, guys. Again, big toe and second toe. Stretch. Back it off. Other direction. Stretch. Back it off. So again, to be clear, guys, we're going back and forth like this, not pulling the fingers apart or toes apart, but rather, again, extension and flexion. Okay? So let's go to the second toe and third toe. Same thing. I'm going to pull the second toe back as far as it will go and push the third toe as far forward as it will go. Hanging out here, just sort of testing, making sure I'm going every millimeter available to me. And then I'll switch the other way. Second toe forward, third toe back. This one for me is significantly tighter. Let's go back and forth a few more times. Just wrench it back in your own time. Second toe back, third toe forward. And the opposite. Very good. Moving right down, we'll go third toe back, fourth toe forward. Excellent. Keep going. About 2 or 3 cycles through, we'll do just fine. Really testing the end range, making sure you're telling yourself, my toes could not go a millimeter further. Now one more time, the pinky toe and the fourth toe. Back and forth a few times. Very good, very good. Excellent. All right, continuing to work with that same foot. Next, what we're going to try and do is do our best to interlace our fingers to the foot. Now, to work this, we're going to bring the hand over past the top of the foot, so not underneath. And I want you to start by taking your index finger and trying to place between your big toe and the next toe. Maybe it fits all the way down, maybe it doesn't. It just is going to go as far as it can, reasonably comfortably. I'll then add in my next finger between my next 2 toes, and so on, and so on. This is challenging. I can barely get all 4 toes in, and if you're like me, as recently as last night, you will not be able to get all 4 fingers between all 5 toes. That's okay. There's plenty of value in this, even if you can't go the entire way. All we're trying to do is create some more tension between the toes and perhaps space them out a bit. So if they feel more of a pressure type sensation from being pinched by the fingers, that's okay. And if you feel a stretch from the toes being spaced apart, that's okay too. Regardless, once I'm sure, and I can use my other hand to sort of help out, once I'm sure my fingers are about as deep as they're going to get today, I'm then just going to start wrenching back and forth. So trying to sort of twist the foot back and forth. So I'm going to pull the pinky toe end up and push the big toe end down, and now reverse it the other way. You guys see that okay? So again, I can use my other hand to help. Pinky toe goes way back, big toe way forward. Can you see? And then the opposite now. Big toe way back, pinky toe forward. And I'm just going to work this back a few more times. Very good. And shake that out a minute. That should feel a little intense. Next up, guys, we're just going to start wringing the foot. So for this one, what I want you to do is, With your opposite hand, so I'm working with my right foot, so with my left hand, I'm going to go ahead and grab the arch of my foot like so. With my same side hand, so right foot, right hand, I'm going to grab the entire toe complex. And all I'm going to do now is wrench them back and forth like I'm wringing out a towel. So again, left hand is on the arch of my right foot, right hand is on top of the toe complex, and I'm just going to twist, go all the way one way, and go all the way the other way. Go all the way one way, and all the way the other. As some of you have heard me say before, there's a lot of fascial sheaths in the foot. So again, the stretch we're feeling here might not necessarily be a traditional stretch sensation, but rather all that saran wrap that wraps up all the different parts of the foot, we're putting through the paces right now, asking it to stretch out. The foot is not one fixed unit, but rather a collection of many joints. And we want to make sure they all have the ability to move, flex, and extend, which they're often deprived of when they're in shoes. Good, guys. Just a couple more cycles through. Keep it going. Excellent. And shake it out. And your foot should feel a little different than the other one does right now. Maybe a little itchier, maybe a little looser, maybe a little lighter. We'll now run the same sequence on our other foot. So we're going to start from the top here. So initially, now I'm on my left side, I'm going to work with my toe splits. Again, my goal here is to pull one toe back while pushing the other one forward, and then shifting this in the other direction. Okay, so I'll begin with the big toe and second toe. Now I'm working my left foot. Just pulling that big toe back and pulling the second toe forward as far as I can go until right where they meet, I feel a bit of a stretch sensation. Very good. And then work it back the other way. Now my big toe goes forward, my second toe goes back. Just working that a little bit. This direction always, for me, feels a lot tighter. We'll bring it back and forth a couple more times. Big toe back, second toe forward, and switch it up. Good. A few more times. Might hurt, but should be one of those hurt so good type of moments. Excellent. I'll go on to my second toe and third toe. Same cycle, guys. Just like we did on the first foot. Constantly trying to touch and range motion. I want equal pressure on both toes. So one's not passive here. I'm pulling on one just as much as I'm pushing on the other. Back and forth. As soon as I touch as far as I can go, I release and go the other side. I'm just going to keep working back and forth. Good. On to the third and fourth toes. Almost there. And range motion. Good. Now let's go to the fifth and fourth toe. Again, back and forth as much as you can. If at any point in time you feel a foot cramp, just relax. Tap out for a moment, catch back up to us. That's quite all right. The foot will adapt each time we go through this. And if you guys join me for the next one of these, which we're going to do tomorrow at noon, you'll feel that the foot feels dramatically different going through this a second time compared to the first. All right, one more time through on range of motion. Perfect. Next up, guys, as we did last time, we're going to try and get the fingers in between the toes. Start with your index finger and place it right between the big toe and the second toe. Get it as nestled in deeply as you can. If you can make it down to the crux of the toe, great. If you can't, just go as far as you can. I'll add another finger in between second and third toe. Use my other hand to help. I have to sort of rearrange my toes manually for them to accept this. And even then, wow, this toe is extra tight today. So just go as far as you can. If you can't get your fingers all the way in, that's quite all right. You just go as far as you can. About halfway down on this foot is about as best as I can get this morning. That's okay. Now that they're in, I'm going to start working back and forth. If this is a tremendous stretch just to get your fingers in there, you may just want to hang out here for a minute, and that's okay. If you want, you can add a little bit of back and forth. And again, I'm just bringing one side up, one side down, one side up, one side down. So first, with my fingers in between my toes, I'm bringing big toe back, little toe forward. And now I'm going to switch it up and do big toe forward, little toe back. And repeat. Back and forth as tolerated, as much as I can manage. And maybe the fingers can slip a little deeper in if the toes allow it, and if not, that's okay. How about 2 deep breaths while we're here? And relax. Move your fingers from your toes. And now we're going to work on that wringing out of the foot. So, in this case, working my left foot, my left hand, the same size of the foot, is going to grab right at the arch of the foot. And my right hand is going to reach and grab the toe complex. And I'm just going to wrench back and forth, twisting in opposite directions. So first I go one way as far as I can, and I bring it back the other. I might feel this more on the top of the foot. I might feel it more in the toes. I might feel it in the arch of the foot, maybe all the above. There is no wrong spot to feel this. Just back and forth, wrenching as hard as I can, squeezing and applying pressure where I'm able. This is Josie, and she has extra mobile feet, so that's why she's skipping today's workout. Excuse me, Josie. All right, once we've worked back and forth a bit, we'll go back to our middle position. Excuse me. Again, we're going to bring both feet together as best you can. Come back to the center position. If I need to come out here, that's okay. I do want to challenge you now, start bringing the feet in as close as you can to feel a good stretch. Excuse me, Joseph. There you go. Once we're in as close as we can be, then I want you to lean forward as far as you can. I'm not so much pulling up on my feet as I am trying to bring my nose down towards my toes. In this position of 3 deep breaths. Excellent. One more time, we're going to come up over top. Reaching over in this direction as far as I can. Trying to feel stretch along this lateral seam here. So deep stretch, 2 deep breaths. And let's bring it over to the other side. Same way, 2 deep breaths. All right, guys. Next, we're going to focus on working on how the toes stretch, specifically the big toe, I dare say the most important toe, relative to what tension we carry in the foot itself. These drills are perhaps a little bit trickier, so shoot me a message in the comments if you have any questions or anything is unclear. Next up, we're going to work on the ability of the big toe to extend. By extend, I mean pull back. When you think about it, we use a pulled back or extended toe position in a lot of activities we might do. Certainly in a lunge, when that back foot has to come back, the toe needs to be able to bend. When I'm running, when I'm going on any sort of uneven terrain, that toe needs to flex back quite a bit. And if the toe lacks the ability to bend backwards all the way, then instead the entire foot will just sort of curve and work around it. Works well in the short term, but that just sort of overloads the ankle long term with too much rotational force. And it's not what we're exactly designed to be able to do. So for this next drill, where I feel a deep stretch on the underside of the big toe, what I'd like you to do for this drill is to set up in a hands and knees position. So I'm going to sit up just like this. And you'll notice, for my foot, I'm trying to get my toes bent. So I'm not on my tiptoe, but rather my toe is bent a bit. From here, And I'm focusing just on my right foot time, so the left can sort of do whatever I need it to facilitate this. I'm going to lean back on my right foot, like so. I can do so like this, I can do so like this, whatever sort of gets me there and helps me feel balanced. All I'm concentrating on is creating that flatness with the big toe. Now, if I feel as though my foot wants to kick out and the ankle wants to come closer towards the camera, towards the outside of me, we've gone too far. All right, that's the body trying to find range of motion where it doesn't exist. So I want you to imagine keeping your heel pointing to the sky and trying to push the base of your right big toe towards the ground. Maybe it touches, maybe it doesn't. That's okay. But what's important is my foot is vertical. From here I can sort of bear my weight in different directions, leaning over and around. And all that does is govern how much pressure I feel in that big toe. But again, if you can see, now I've got my toe down pretty far back. If this was my hand was my foot, you'd see the toes look like this. All right, so trying to work back there as best I can. And just feeling that pressure as I try and drive the base of the toe into the ground. Doesn't have to get there today. One more deep breath while we're here. Excellent. And shake it out. Let that toe recover for a minute. That should feel pretty intense on that big toe. This is then the trickiest stretch we're going to do on the feet all day. What I want you to do now is to return back to that seated position. We're going to grab the toe complex and we're going to pull everything backwards. So take a look for a minute, see how we're doing this. I'm pulling the toe down towards the underside of the foot. At the same time, I'm bending the foot itself back as far as it'll go. So I'm creating a stretch along this entire front of the shin into the top of the leg, or sorry, top of the foot. As I pull back, I might want to brace the back of my shin on the other side, that's okay. Just trying to create some sort of stretch or tension. I might feel this more up top. Oh yeah, we feel that one. Where the foot meets the shin, you might feel it more in the toe itself. By the way, I'm just trying to pull back here. If your foot cramps up when you do this, then you're just like me the first time I tried this drill. That's okay, it will pass in time. Just tap out for a moment. Say, yeah, hey, no problem, Andrew, no problem. Let me show you another way we can get the stretch going as well that's also very useful, a little more advanced. If I'm working my right foot, I'm going to place the right foot in the ground, and now you'll notice that the foot is flat, right? So the top of the foot is pressed into the ground. I've got a little gap here where the foot meets the shin. That's just because I'm tight. I'm trying to eliminate that gap, so I'm applying some pressure downward. That might induce a stretch. Or if you're really mobile or a glutton for punishment, then what I'm going to try and do is pull up on this knee like so. So as I pull up here, it creates a global stretch along the front of the shin, into the complex where it meets the foot, top of the foot, even top of the big toe. So in this case, everything is flat. I'm pushing the top of my foot, top of the big toe into the mat, and pull up as high as I can. I can oscillate back and forth into deep stretch and back off, into deep stretch and back off, and keep repeating. Big deep breaths while we're here. And relax. Very good. All right. We're going to try the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to change my angle to see if I can give you guys a better view of what I'm doing here. So working on the left foot now, which is the foot furthest from you at the camera, you'll see again, I'm going to create that extended toe position, right? So not toes pointed back, no toes pointed down, but extended toe position. Again, you'll notice that sometimes the heel wants to kick towards the outside of your body, see from here to here, because it knows your other toes are a lot more mobile than the big toe. Unfortunately, you're only as mobile in the feet as your stiffest toe, so we're going to continue to focus on the big toe here. So number one rule, again, I'm going to get that foot to 12 o'clock, not allowing the heel to kick out at all. And I'm going to try and press that back of, press the underside of the big toe where it meets the foot into the ground. All right, this might be enough to feel a stretch. If I really want to amp things up, I can literally sit on the back of my heel there. And you'll see what I'm doing is just applying more pressure downward to create that stretch in the big toe. I've always felt very, very different in terms of how one toe feels with the stretch compared to the other, but I have no idea if I'm the exception to the rule there. So again, feeling a big, deep stretch as I press that base of the toe into the ground, letting the toe just peel back the big toe as much as I can, keeping the foot at 12 o'clock. Excellent. And now we'll get into the idea of the forward bend stretch. So I've got my foot flat. I'm going to pull up and feel as much stretch as I can through here. So top of the foot is pressed into the mat, and I'm just pulling up, inducing a stretch this way. Back in, ease up. Back into the stretch, ease up, and repeat. I can also try just sitting on this foot if I have trouble getting that foot to a flat position in the first place. Either way works. You're just trying to induce some sort of stretch sensation. Anything from the top of the toe, top of the foot, to the ankle complex or front of the shin. All right, so one more time, just pulling up as I press that top of the foot into the ground. And then relax. Very good, guys. Very good. All right. Moving right along. That's plenty for lower body, but I did promise we would do some wrist complex and palm stretches as well today, which we'll do right now. Do 4 drills. For those of you that have ever taken a gymnastics class, some of these are going to look very familiar. The palm and wrist complex, which we'll define as the space where palm meets wrist, is a very sensitive junction in the body. Theoretically, we should all be able to bear quite a bit of our weight, if not exclusively, on our palms and wrists. It doesn't always work out that way because very often we're in a forward wrist flex position. We're typing, reading, working on our phones. So to get the body in that full extended position where I'm bending the hands back like so is a lot more challenging. And if I lack the range of motion to get there, I build in compensations and it's going to register as pain, which is why it may hurt sometimes if I bear too much weight on that. More shockingly so, we should also bear our weight on the back of our hand like this. That's a lot more challenging to do so. But today we're going to do a stretch or two that are going to show you how to get closer there. So this feels great, especially if you've spent a day typing or using your fingers or hands quite a bit. The way this is going to start, let's see, let's get a good position right here. What I'd like you to do is begin by trying to stretch your fingers apart as far as you can. So you watch me here, I'm going to basically anchor the pinky toe and stretch the rest of that foot, the hand over as far as I can. So I have as much space as possible between the thumb and the pinky. And again over here, thumb, pinky, as much space as I can muster. Okay? That alone should begin to feel a bit of a stretch, right, in the fingers. But that's just the start. So next up, what I want you to do is back away from your hands a little bit. If you're right on top, we're instantly loading them up. That can be a little too much too soon. So you're going to back away from the hands, put the hands further away from you. All right, just a bit. From here, next, before I even begin to load up tension, I want to lock the elbows. So no bend in the elbow whatsoever. Elbows locked. And for extra credit, if you can, I'd like you to externally rotate at the arm. By that, what I mean is I want elbow pits forward. See, so from this to this. If you notice the difference there, if that's the elbow pit where the elbow bends, I'm trying to get that to turn as far forward facing as I can. That creates some torque in the arm and creates more space at the wrist complex. So let's recap. First one, backing away from the hands. Fingers are stretched apart as far as they go. Number 2, lock the elbows. Number 3, externally rotate those elbow pits forward. And then, while getting really stiff and maintaining all of those, now we'll start leaning forward a bit until you feel a stretch. All the while, I want you to make sure that you're pressing the base of your palm into the mat. All right? And once you've leaned forward, far enough forward to feel a stretch, we're going to live here a little bit. Left to right, forward, back, circles. And what we're looking for here is we're looking to find what corners feel stretchiest today. Maybe no movement is required at all, and we're right here and we're feeling plenty stretch, and that's great. But if you need to ramp it up a little more, are you still externally rotating? Did you lose your elbows? Are you bending? The body's going to constantly try and fight out of this position because it knows it's more mobile there. So we want to make sure we're constantly working against that. Looks good. Excellent. All right, guys. So once we've lived here for a little bit, now we'll go into phase 2. So we did our palms down, fingers facing away. Next up, we're going to do palms down, facing forward. The setup here is in some ways a bit different. So now what I want you to do is get right on top of the spot you're going to be working from. Before, we sit up with the hands way out in front. Now I'm going to want you to sit up with the hands right in front of your legs. So first things first. As I mentioned, this is palm down, fingers forward. So I'm going to spin my arm around. So fingertips go from forward to out to behind me, okay? And right underneath, I'm gonna set up like so. Now, we may not have that rotatability today, and that's okay. Maybe you can only go this far, that's fine. Go as far as you can, ultimately trying to target fingertips to 6 o'clock, okay? Once I'm here, you'll notice now I've gotta lean forward to reduce the stretch, because if I come back too soon, it's too much stretch. So keep the tension off. Stretch the fingers, all right? So fingertips far apart, thumb to pinky are the furthest. Next, lock your elbows hard. We're already in an externally rotated position. So now all I've got to do is drop backwards to begin to feel that stretch. This one's pretty intense. You might feel it anywhere from up in the bicep, across the elbow, through the forearms, all the way down. Again, pressing the base of my palm into the ground, not allowing it to peel up, right, as I lean back. Perfect. Very good. Keep going, guys. Excellent. Again, once we're in the spot, we can live here a little bit, sort of bounce around. Very good. Excellent. A little more deep breathing the entire time. And shake it out. That's when we want to shake out for sure. All right, we've saved the best for last, guys. There's 2 more to go. And these are those funky positions where now we're actually going to go palms up. So for this one, you might feel a bit more sensitive if it's your first time through, and that's okay. Only give as much pressure as your body can manage. We're going to do this drill a couple times throughout the week, so we'll have a chance to get better at it, and you'll be amazed at how fast the body adapts. But you might also be amazed at how deficient the body is on day 1 with regards to bearing pressure on the back of that. What up, guys? All right, so what I'd like you to do is we're going to do palms up, fingers facing forward. So what I want you to do is spread the fingers, and we're going to go palms up, like so. All right. Now, from this position, already I might feel a bit of a stretch, or I might feel a bit of sensitivity in the top of the hand. You just do what you can handle here. Keep the fingers spread as best you can, although be aware there's nothing to anchor them, so they might sort of drift around and do their own thing. But what I'd like you to do is actually externally rotate again. So I'm going to try and get elbow pits forward while keeping fingertips at 6 o'clock or as close as I can get to that. Might be a little tight today. That external rotation could be enough already to induce some stretch. If not, making sure the elbows are locked certainly will. And then from here, just leaning back. And I don't think you can see that on the camera. It does not take much for me. I lean back a little bit and I feel quite a bit of pressure. All the while I'm pressing into the ground to, again, get the body used to bearing more weight on the back of the hand. If you feel a bit of pain, back off. Only do what you can handle. You should be able to deep breathe the entire time. If at any point in time this position takes away your breath, you've gone too far. So again, palms are up, fingertips are pointing towards me. I'm externally rotated and I'm leaning back to feel a nice stretch here. Again, live here a bit. Try left to right. Looks good, guys. Circles, corners, wherever you feel tight. You can hang out there, you can stay in motion. All right, and lastly, shake that out. 1 more to go. This is the most challenging. We're going to go fingertips forward, palms up. So for this drill, we're going to set up just like so. I can't get my fingertips to 12 o'clock. They're more like 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock right now. But get as far as you can. Lock the elbow, that's important. And then just lean forward. All the while, pressing your weight into the back of the hand there, which can feel a little weird, a little uncomfortable. We don't do this regularly. Our bodies really aren't used to bearing weight here, but they will adapt quickly. So I'm leaning forward here, breathing deep, making sure I still have my breath. To the left or to the right a little bit. Watch your elbows, they're inclined to bend. Keep them locked. Lean forward for a bigger stretch, lean away for a lesser stretch. Check out those corners, see where you feel tightest. If your fingers are inclined to slowly rotate back, put them into position. Deep breath here, please. Deep breath here. Whew, and shake that out. That might feel a little weird initially. All right, guys, we're almost there. Thanks for bearing with me so far. One more to go. We're going to go back to our butterfly position. So one more time, I want you to try and bring the feet in as close as they can go into a good stretch. I want you to sit up as tall as you possibly can, less pulling on the feet and more me just sort of pressing down to stay upright. And then I'm going to fold forward. And we're not got 3 deep breaths here, guys. 1. 2. And 3. Excellent. Guys, we did it. We made it through our first ever mobility class. Your wrists, your hands, your feet, your toes should feel a little more mobile than they did perhaps 30 minutes ago. We're going to keep these classes rocking all day long, guys, all week. We'll be back here next, let's see, at 12 noon today. We'll have a strength and shape body weight workout coming up. And 5 o'clock today, we have a yoga class as well. And then at 1 p.m. today, I'm doing a podcast, the From At Home edition, quarantine edition. So pop on, guys, throughout the day. We'll have lots of stuff posted for you. And take a look at that schedule because we're going to run this all the days of the week. Thanks so much, guys. We really appreciate your support. We hope this is helping you stay healthy while you're at home. And in between now and then, if at any point in time you have questions about what we reviewed or other things you'd like to see, please don't hesitate to post it, and we'll be happy to comply as best we can. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you soon.